Okay, hello everybody. Bonjour, buona dimineața. Bună seara. My name is Alexander Morari and I am the founder of ITKeyMedia. You've tuned in to our podcast about Central and Eastern European startups that are in pre-series A stage. This is important. Our guest today is Grégoire Vigroux. Let's call him Greg for simplicity. Greg is the co-founder of bonapp.eco. That's an app that allows retailers to sell their goods and food stuff, basically, nearing the expiration date to consumers who want to save. Bună dimineața, bună seara, bonjour.
Thank you so much, Alex, for the kind invitation, and thank you for giving me the opportunity to say a few words about bonapp.eco. Thank you.
Yes, it's interesting because we are now discussing, we will discuss, of course, this bonapp.eco, but you are a serial
entrepreneur,
killer of great ideas that turned into interesting business projects. Why did you decide to start a company like this? This is not original. This is not, unique, but of course there's some social impact. Is it a game of to be the first in Romania and then exit, or is there any other kind of a prehistory to opening this company?
It's a good question because as an entrepreneur, I do not like to reinvent the wheel. And I believe that there are some already existing businesses which are absolutely fantastic in other parts of the world. And myself, as a French entrepreneur in Eastern Europe, I just need to do one thing, which is spend lots of time. And this is how I start my days, 30 minutes sharp every morning, looking at what are the most exciting startup companies, startup ideas from Western Europe, from North America. And from time to time, when I have very much interest in one of these ideas that I find, I ask part of my team, which is made of former consultants, I like, look, guys, you should really have a look to this startup idea because I believe it could work in Eastern Europe.
Wow.
And in 10-20% of the cases, I said, yes, Greg, this is the right timing. This is the right project. Let's start. And this is how we deploy new projects. We never reinvent the wheel. We do this because out of humility, we know that already in the Silicon Valley, for example, there are far more smarter entrepreneurs than I am, people with MBAs from Stanford, people who have access to much more capital than I do. So the best ideas have already been launched. So I just need to pick the ones which I believe is the right time to launch in Eastern Europe. So and I have lots of theories about this, and I could get into the details. But that was your first question, so I will try to keep my first answer short.
This is just the warm-up, Greg, and I will not let it go then. So interesting and very transparently, I love this style and this approach. Thank you very much. So you are after Rocket Internet then kind of game, right? This is what you want to do for Eastern Europe.
So Alex, this is a very good point. I believe what these guys from these three German brothers did with Rocket Internet since 2007 is absolutely amazing. And indeed, there are lots of interesting things with the Rocket Internet. They did nearly 30 exits, launching companies in a startup factory mode. But I don't intend myself to build a startup factory. I've been launching many startups in a standalone mode. Now I'm going to launch a startup studio, not a factory. I don't like the wording factory. And something that I don't really like about what Rocket Internet did is that this factory mode, like, you are an entrepreneur, but you feel like you work in an assembly line. You feel like you work in in really an old factory where you need to do some things. There are lots of pressure. You are dedicated to one task. I like better startup studios than startup factories, because startup studios, to me, it refers to Hollywood studios, to Hollywood movies. And I take more inspiration in the way Hollywood launch blockbusters, and I'm trying to duplicate all the ingredients that the Hollywood studios are doing for cinema. I'm trying to get my inspiration from my startup studio from them. I can elaborate maybe later on this, but I have a whole theory about this, and it's actually running and it works pretty well so far. Maybe I should elaborate, no?
Look, simple to the point aphoristically, but you basically described a whole career path for a business engineer, should I say, who is not trying to catch a bird flying high in the sky, creating something unique and changing the world, is just see the signals around you, give a chance to those most promising, and reiterate something that's already been tested in similar situation, in similar context. Interesting. So much
this
for
is correct,
so much.
This is correct.
So much.
This is correct. Sorry.
Yeah. And again, what's interesting, your starting point is not, I have a great idea. It's somebody else resolved somebody's problem before me. And in my area, in my part of the world, nobody else is thinking of that, or not yet very advanced. So why don't we just import this tested, tried, invested, and already working idea? Interesting. We could finish this podcast at this point. I think this will be already having far-reaching impact on many viewers. But let's move on and focus a little bit on your current project, which is bonapp.eco, right?
Mm-hmm. And which is the best business case. That's the perfect transition. This is the perfect business case for what I was saying. There is this absolutely big and beautiful Scandinavian company that has a mobile application for food waste. This company was created 6 years ago. They are present in 24 countries. They have more than 30 million users, and they are not present in Eastern Europe. So the opportunity here is to take some inspiration from them, try to be as good as they are when we identify assets, where we see there is room for improvement and they have weaknesses, trying to be even better than they are, to grow as fast as we can. And the good thing about duplicating something that already exists in other geos is that you are mitigating the risk of failure. Because actually in the world of, we all know that the world of tech startups is a vast graveyard. 70 to 90% of tech startups are not going to survive more than 4 years or 5 years. So by duplicating some ideas based on existing business model that have been succeeding in so many markets, in that case, more than 20 markets, you are decreasing significantly the risk of failure. And also you are guaranteeing an exit, a faster exit, because, and you raise money more easily because you already have some to show the investors and the team that you are surrounded with. You show them that such companies with the same business model in other geos, in other markets, they have been succeeding. So yes, on November 4th, I've launched this company named bonapp.eco. Basically, it's a mobile application. You just download it and it's very easy. You can find next to the place where you are to have access to restaurants, to retailers, to gas stations, to hotels, any kind of place that sells food. And they put the food on the application just because the food is going to expire in 1, 2, 3, 4 days. So for the retailers, it's great. They are selling food that would be otherwise thrown away. It's great for users because you are going to save 40 to 80% on the food just because it will expire in a few days. And it's great for the planet because, of course, it's a big catastrophe. Food waste at the global level is a catastrophe. 40% of the food that is produced globally is thrown away. And it represents 10% of the global CO2 emissions. So this is what I love about bonapp.eco. Happy retailers, happy consumers, good for the planet. And for us, we have a skyrocketing startup. We launched 2 months and a half ago, and already the figures are skyrocketing. So exactly the type of scale-up startups that I really love myself. So I'm very happy to be involved in this project.
How many downloads by now of the app?
15,000. So 2 months 15. And a half, 15,000, including 2,000 sales as of today, 2,000 sales. And we didn't burn €1 in marketing yet. It was just word of mouth and public relations.
Mm-hmm. You described your inspiration company, but if you were transparent from the very beginning, let's keep being transparent. So Too Good To Go, and by the way, we will cover round 1 and round 2 of this podcast. Too Good To Go, Danish company. I think I will mix maybe even the last round of our podcast, which is about the company, future of the company. Too Good To Go, would you say this is a good short-term exit scenario for you? Is this a target, or this is just one of the scenarios?
No, I don't think they would need to acquire companies like ours, or maybe they will. I don't know. Maybe we can have.
But for the coverage, I know. But for the coverage, they expanded to Spain by They expanded to Spain by buying a local company,
True.
right? After funding.
Very good point. So we've been already approached by companies that are willing to acquire us. So it's absolutely crazy. I mean, it goes so fast. We started the company 2.5 months ago, and we already have some potential buyers. So this is what I like about startups.
Was there a FTSE as well?
Sorry?
Was there a FTSE as well targeting to buy your company, FTSE?
No, it's not FTSE, but the beauty of it is basically the timing. And I think that in business, okay, the project, of course, is important. The team is important. I mean, lots of things are important, but the timing is always essential. I think the timing is absolutely perfect. We nailed it a bit by chance. I mean, this is what the market research was telling us, but also we see that, and this, we have onboarded 100 retailers. I mean, 100 partners. Whereas we launched less than 3 months ago, we work with the top retailers in Romania, top French, German brands of retail present in the country. We are going to expand to 3 additional cities in the country. We are also looking at Bulgaria, Greece, Hungary. So things are going very fast. This is why we raise money very quickly, by the way. It was the quickest free seed funding of that amount for a Romanian startup ever. This is what I love about startup, is the possibility to have things that go so fast based on opportunity. And yeah, it's not my first startup rodeo, because the last startup that I sold it after 14 months, right? So a bit more than a year. It was a Romanian startup selling refurbished phones.
Yeah.
Also positive impact on the environment. I launched the company in April 2020. 14 months after, I sold the company, 100% of it. I'm still serving the company as an advisor today. But you know, this is what I like about startups. You know, I couldn't cope with the corporate world where, you know, they take me 5 to 10 years to grow within the companies. I like when things go very fast. It's even unreal. You know, this is what I love about tech startups, especially nowadays, where things are a bit crazy. It becomes sometimes unreal when it comes to the valuation. But when you do the fundamentals, it's not from the, because I'm also a business angel, so I'm also investing my own money in some tech startups. But you know, sometimes it's about the team, it's about the right project at the right time. But anyway, it keeps me excited. Life is short, and I am enjoying lots of things in my life thanks to the startup world in which I evolve.
You know what came to my mind, like your approach to engineering businesses rather than by revelation or serendipity or like I had a dream, you know, and stuff like this. This is very similar to, correct me if I'm wrong, this is how I see this. Basically what you're doing, you are getting yourself a kind of regional master franchise package without paying anything, without paying a royalty, right? Basically, so in essence, you're creating a franchise for yourself from companies like Too Good To Go and similar, without paying anything.
But Too Good To Go didn't start out of nowhere. They also took inspiration from other companies before them. Okay. And everything is in business, just like in life. Everything, just like books and movies, everything is always a reinvention of something that was coming before. And I think this is a very important thing to mention here. Now, another reality which is striking to me is that when you are looking at the top tech companies globally, none of them is a pioneer. I mean,
True.
Tesla didn't invent electric cars. Amazon didn't invent e-commerce. Facebook didn't invent social media. Okay. Google didn't invent a search engine, and so on and so on and so on. The big skyrocketing global leaders always came second as an outsider or as a challenger. They saw the leaders and they tried to be better when they saw rooms for opportunities. So this is what the world of technology is teaching us. And at my small level, in my small region, which is Southeastern Europe, I'm trying to not copycat, because I don't like the word copycat. We are not spying on them. We are not doing exactly the same thing. We are looking at what Too Good To Go, Phoenix, Karma, and many other players, because there are many players for many years in this industry. Too Good To Go is the most famous. We are looking at where do they bring a value, what we could do differently. Also taking into account, of course, the culture and the environment, which is Romania, Bulgaria, etc., right? So I think this is extremely important. But what we see is that yeah, food tech is definitely an exciting trend, and we are really going through a green transformation. And this is something we see discussing with retailers, any kind of business partner, by the way, even telcos in my other startup businesses. I mean, all banks. Everybody now is talking about green transformation because we understand that we cannot continue like this. Climate change is a reality. The boards, the consumers, the top managements, everybody is pushing those corporations to try to do more to address the problems posed by climate change. So my role in society as an entrepreneur is what? The role of entrepreneur is very basic. You see problems, you bring solutions. Basically, entrepreneurs are problem solvers. This is what we are. This is what we do. If you don't, there is no problem, there is no company, so there is no entrepreneur. As a problem solver, I see that Romania is one of the worst countries in Europe when it comes to food waste. It's a catastrophe. I mean, really. Whereas 40% of the budget from Romanian families is spent into food, which is huge. It's 10% in France and Germany. So me as an entrepreneur in the Romanian society, how can I put my entrepreneurial skills? I can gather people around the table, raise some money, so that through a technology which is very simple, which is a mobile app, we can have an impact.
Yes, you mentioned food tech. I thought of this type of companies in bonapp.eco as well as a social impact company, rather, right? This is like wider space, I should say, and maybe more currently not popular. What I think is developing and growing kind of more and more, right?
I agree.
Look, what about business as such? I don't want to guess, but anyways, who's paying for this, and what's your current figures? If you can share whatever the range you can share, MRR. I mean, it's too early, I know, but anyways, there is some.
No, sure. Sure. So first of all, in terms of objectives, our objective is to affiliate 5,000 businesses, so 5,000 partners, and to sell 30 million meals by the end of next year. So this is the business plan. We are on tracks for the moment, and the business model works as follows. On average, the meal sold, as I said earlier, at a 40 to 80% less expensive price is sold 4 to 5 euros to the consumer. Out of those 4 or 5 euros, we take a commission of 1.09 euros. It's a fixed commission, regardless of the price of the basket. This is how we make money. And each shop needs to pay a yearly fee to be affiliated to our platform. That's a good business model, we believe. We don't want to have a fee that is a percentage because we don't want to encourage the retailers and the restaurants to give baskets of food for nominal value, which would be too small. So by having a fixed commission of 1.09 euro, we make sure that at least the price of the basket is high enough, in the range of 4 to 5 euros on average here.
1.09 euro per
transaction,
item, or per transaction, okay, which could be which could be a package, right, or several items in the basket, right?
Okay, so yeah, so it's per basket actually, yes, and it's per basket that the retailer is going to put on the platform. There are 2 versions of the app, one for the businesses, one for the user. And in the shop, for example, in Starbucks, for example, because Starbucks is one of our top clients in top partners in Romania. They say, okay, there remains some croissant, some whatever cookies, etc., and a salad. They put it in a basket. That makes one box.
Yeah.
They put the information on the app, and then the user sees it immediately. Go and take the bag from the shop. We don't do delivery for now.
Yeah. And now tell me, why 1.09? I mean, €1.09. Why this figure? Out of curiosity.
Why this figure? Because we've run different scenarios, we've placed with figures, and we believe that it's the right one, not to be too much for our partners. And we talked also about it to our partners to see what would be the perception. So we believe it was a fair fee. Yeah. Having in mind that for the retailer, by the way, normally this food would be thrown away. So even though we take 1.09 euro out of the basket of 5 euros, it can seem it's big, but at the end of the day, if the people don't sell it, the retailers don't sell it through the platform, it's going to be thrown away. So it would be pure loss, and it's even more than pure loss because the retailers, they pay transportation companies who come collect the food to be burnt, thrown away, etc. So it has an additional cost. Plus for the retailer, we bring additional traffic to the shop. You know, I go to Starbucks, I take my bag, and you know what? Maybe I'm going to buy a coffee. Maybe I'm going to buy whatever. So it brings a new population of customers to those shops, and there might be some additional purchase on top of the box itself.
I'm smiling inside, but also outside, because this is the case from my own case today. We have a bakery at our office tower, and so today by 4 p.m. they are closing the shop, and you can take the packages that you reserved or booked on the application. Okay, and so I see this is 4:40. I come to the bakery and ask whether or not they have these packages yet. I mean, still to buy from the app. They say no, nothing left. And what I do, I buy then at live pricing, you know, whatever they have there on an impulse. So this is what we mean, basically. This works both ways. Yeah.
Yes.
I mean, I was trying to word this and define somehow for you. Of course, you did a better job. But what I think is, for the retailers, an easy sale would be just to say that you are doing, or you are helping value recovery, or, you know, waste mitigation, right? Or value waste mitigation.
It's a way to put it. Yes, it's true. Yeah.
Not only you mitigate the waste itself, but also you save the effort, money, time of the processing, because then it's food waste, and food waste is highly regulated, depending, of course, on what you are wasting there. And it seems to be like an easy sell. Is it easy sell to your partners in Romania?
Man, I mean, it's absolutely easy sell. I mean, again, I mean, we have close 100. We have 100 partners in Bucharest. We launched 2.5 months ago. So you take the top 12 food retailers in Romania. We've signed already with 8 of them, and the ones who have not enrolled yet, we are discussing with them. Okay, to be honest, it's not only the project, it's also that I already knew those retailers. I've been working with retailers through other startup companies for many years. So I have access to C-level in these companies. Yeah. So when I came to pitch the projects, I was not coming out of nowhere. So this is true, it really helps. I wouldn't have been having those guys in my network. It would have taken much more time.
I see.
Plus competition is also already happening, you know, so we are not the only ones. You know, the problem, this is, we were talking about Rocket Internet earlier. This is one of the Samber brothers, the founders of Rocket Internet, who says, when you have a great idea, at the exact same time, there are 7 people who have the exact same bright idea. So you need to hurry up, because startup is about going very fast. And it's true. So that's why we wanted to go so fast. This is why we raised so much money so quickly.
Yeah. Okay. What about your expansion plans, by the way? You mentioned Bulgaria. Okay, naturally. And then what will be the next quality, let's say, leap into your expansion program? Like, what other country you would say are more interesting after Bulgaria?
First of all, first of all, Bulgaria, not because it's a big market, but because I also have other businesses there, and I have some network in Bulgaria and some history with the country. Greece, we are looking at Greece. We are looking at Hungary. And again, we are extremely opportunistic in the right sense of the word. So in case one of our partners, big retailers, especially in Romania, they are strong presence in a neighboring country where we could deploy. You know, for example, in the list of the retailers that work with me, there is one that have several hundred shops in Romania, right? And they have 100 shops in other countries in the region. Just with one partner like this, we can deploy a new country and already have lots of locations. Because in our industry, there are 2 types of businesses. As bonapp, we are very strong on the retail, big chains, so of hypermarkets, supermarket, chains of coffees like Starbucks, you know. So whenever we sign one contract, potentially it's tens, if not hundreds of locations. We have some competitors who have more like an approach which is towards restaurants. Individual restaurants, individual bakeries, which is good also in terms of density, but this is not the way we started, you know. In order to scale very fast, Having one contract with one big retailer is something we go after rather than one fewer smaller contracts with individual restaurants or bakeries, whatever. But we are going to get there at one point.
Yeah. One point of contact, and then a whole portfolio, a whole portfolio of companies, and more of a volume there is much bigger.
Exactly, and the volume of waste. So if you take a big retailer, the bigger it is, the bigger the shop is, the more likely they are going to have food waste. Restaurant, the smaller it is, the less food waste there is going to be.
Yeah.
Scalability, always scalability. Yeah.
Last thing in these two rounds that we've covered already, would you agree that the more developed a country is, the more waste it produces?
No,
is it true from your experience and analysis?
No, we have looked at the figures. We've made some reports, market research, etc., with very big teams of consultants, very strong guys. Basically, in Eastern Europe, the volume of waste is actually bigger than in the West. Romania, for example, would rank very, very bad. Bulgaria as well.
Why? Cheaper food, or like not as aware of the problem?
Yes, I mean how could I put it? The level of caring maybe about food waste is not the top priorities maybe for a part of the population. Right? France, Germany, we pay attention to this very, very, very carefully. So there is increasing pressure, regulations, lots of regulation to fight against food waste. But we are getting there also in Romania and Bulgaria. I mean, just like in the rest of Europe, because again, it's the Green Deal, right? We are in the middle of the European Green Deal, and food waste is actually one of the chapters, one of the topics that Europe wants to address. So yeah, again, we are in the mood of times, in the right place, in the right moment, we hope, and working hard to fight food waste.
Okay, Greg, let's go avant-garde, so to say. Round 3 right now, quick Q&A. Share with us your best productivity hacks.
So my best productivity hack is to surround myself with people who are more smart than I am. You know the saying, right? If you are the smartest person in the room, you are in the wrong room. So I'm spending my time meeting with new people. When I'm telling you I'm spending my time to meet with new people, I do walking meetings. So every day I do 3 to 4 walking meetings. Most of the time with people that it's the first time I meet with them. And when I meet 100 people, one of them, so 1% of them, are what I call eye flyers. And by surrounding myself with eye flyers are very, very smart and talented people, lots of ambitious, who share my values. Whenever I identify those people, I hire them as co-founders in my companies, and they are the one driving the businesses. Strong operational people, mostly, you know, people who deliver. I'm not too much of an operational person myself. I'm not too much of a financial guy. I'm more like the kind of visionary guy. I come with an idea, with a project, and I put everyone around the table, and I encourage the people and to do something all together. I'm the one who, you know, put the people around the table, come with this vision, but the people who actually run those businesses, and this would be my hack actually, is not to mess up with your business partners. And in my case, I'm very, very, very selective on this. Very picky, sorry, very, very picky on this. That's the #1 rule. That's why I meet people with new people all the time. And whenever I meet these people who are very smart, I introduce them to my teams, my business partners, so that they go through interviews with all the people that I trust that are already in my ecosystem. We work like a gang, like a pack of wolves. And as a pack of wolves, in order to have a new entrepreneur part of the community of our ecosystem, they need to go through and discuss with many of them. But whenever you are inside, you have a project, and you can have the possibility to, you know, to work with us, and together we are launching skyrocketing businesses. These businesses, most of the time, they work because, again, we are not trying not to invent the wheel. It's not our first startup rodeo. I'm myself involved in 21 startups. I did already 4 exits, so we know how to scale businesses. We know how to sell businesses. We are very opportunistic, again, in the right way, trying to have impact entrepreneurial projects. So most of the projects work, but the ones which do not work, you know, which I call somehow zombies, you know, zombie startups, we kill them. We kill the startups that do not scale immediately. This is very hard because whenever you are a startup founder, you get attached emotionally to the startup, to the brand. And I said, like, guys, we are sorry. You are the team. You are our partners, business partners on the team. But look, guys, it was not the right time. We realized we need to kill the zombie so we can reposition our business partners and the teams to existing projects which are already skyrocketing or to new projects. So always trying to move these teams and have them focus on the next big thing and not hesitate, unfortunately, to kill the zombies along the way. Fortunately, it does not happen that often, but sometimes it does. It happened to me 6 months ago, so we had to kill the startup. That's it.
Okay, so you say you tend to meet many people within a recruitment context, so to say. How do you create this stream of applications? Just openly, putting job ads? We're recruiting for this and this startup, or you rely on recommendations from other companies? So you catch them on LinkedIn, let's have a coffee, and then you do this by yourself, your assistant or your team or something. How do you create this stream, inbound stream of potential talent?
It's a very good question, and you mentioned it, LinkedIn. People contact me on LinkedIn because people know that I'm constantly looking. So people, they see me on LinkedIn. People, they see me in the media. And I always say, look, guys, I'm constantly looking. Plus, it's word of mouth. Some people, these communities are relatively small. The people who have really the entrepreneurial mindset, entrepreneurial DNA, these people evolve in the same ecosystem. So word of mouth, and they contact me on LinkedIn. So most of the time, indeed, it's inbound. I don't have to look for them. They hear about our startups. And we have startups which are quite appealing, frankly. bonapp.eco, this food waste application, people love it. Everybody loves it. Journalists love it. Our investors love it. Our retailers love it. The consumers love it. And of course, the candidate as well, they love it. So it's making our job more easy.
Last question. Yeah. Last question. Do you have an algorithm for selecting those right talents, or you just go by the gut?
I'm very old school. I'm 41 years old, so I go very much by the guts. And by the guts. Yeah. Spending some time with them, walking meetings, trying to figure out who they are. But again, I can find some people sometimes who are extremely intelligent, very ambitious, who fit lots of criteria, but I need, most importantly, to have very, very strong connection with them. I need to become friends with my business partners because life is so short. I don't want I don't want to work with people who have values which are not fully aligned to mine. I don't want to work with people that I cannot become friends with, So that's why I'm also picky on this. They need to become friends because at the end of the day, entrepreneurship, launching a startup, is a human adventure. It's not a financial adventure. Yes, of course, money is here. It's one of the metrics. We need money to start a business, but it's a metric. The money here is a metric. It remains a human, emotional, personal, people adventure. And this is what I love about entrepreneurship.
Can I encapsulate it somehow? Look, your motto for life, I understand, is value creating human interaction based hedonism.
Yes, around projects which are having a social impact or an environmental impact. So we can all be proud of what we are doing. Our families as well. I have 3 kids, 8 years old, 6 years old, 5 years old. My oldest will say, look, daddy, what do you do at work? I'm not going to tell him about the revenue that my companies did last year. I'm not going to tell him about the EBITDA that I'm having on bonapp.eco. It has no meaning. Daddy is fighting food waste because it's a catastrophe for the environment. Daddy has launched a company that sells refurbished devices because manufacturing new phones is a catastrophe for the environment. That creates some meaningful things, in the legacy that I'm trying to give to my kids, to people around me, to my coworkers. We can be proud of what we achieve.
Beautiful. And I can be proud that I have at least something in common with you, also 3 kids. Let's move on.
Nice.
Greg, round number 4, company. Very, very quickly, we'll have to wrap up soon. How many founders you have? Who is on your cap table right now? And how many people in the team? Specifically in this team, I understand that your studio, you can have overlapping for synergy and so on and so on. But anyways, 100%
by the way, the biggest company, Talus International Europe, has 5,000 employees, 3,000 employees in Bulgaria, 2,000 employees in Romania. but that's another topic. bonapp.eco, 12 people so far, but we are currently hiring an additional 20 people. Most of those people are in sales. Why? Because bonapp.eco is so exciting for lots of consumers, users, that actually the level of demand exceeds the level of supply, even though we have 100 partners in Bucharest. So we need to close much more partnership with much more retailers, with restaurants, etc., so that we can somehow match the supply with the demand. So yes, 12 people, including four co-founders. You're on mute.
Yeah, not anymore. What's the labor division between the founders?
What is
the labor division between, I mean, among you guys, the founders? How do you divide the
work?
Yeah.
Yeah, so myself, I'm a door opener. You know, in a football match, I would be, you know, the Kylian Mbappe of the football match. But unfortunately, I'm not having this talent. I'm good to make a goal from time to time, but on a very specific occasion. So you make me enter on the football match just at a very specific moment. When we need to open doors with retailers, I use my network, I take my phone, we get anything. When we need to do some public relations and we need to go on TV, when we need to go and meet whatever minister for, you know, whatever lobbying, etc. So I can, on a punctual basis, every time we need to unlock a situation, we need to open an opportunity. This is what I'm doing for bonapp.eco and for many other businesses, right? But I would be more in the network, business development, sales, public relations. That would be my role. And the guys I work with, very strong in operations, very good in sales as well. So yeah, good finance guys. I mean, very good executive people, you know. And I'm not a good executive, by the way. I'm just a crazy entrepreneur with a crazy vision on the future. And by the way, maybe I'm wrong, and sometimes I'm wrong, but that's why I need to surround myself with people who somehow may be a bit more rational. It's all about balance at the end of the day. You know, I think the key of entrepreneurship at the end of the day, it's about complementarity. You know, I never launch a business by myself, and I will never do it. I really believe that in order to launch a business, you need to bring complementary profiles. I always have, as a CEO, I always speak as a CEO, as a co-founder, someone who is very strong at operations, very operational machines, very smart people, because I'm not an operation guy. So that's why it's all about bringing complementarity, so that at the end of the day, we can cover the wide scope of having the best areas of expertise within one single startup. And so far, so good. It's been working fine so far. I will never hire a guy who has a profile similar to mine. It would make no sense.
Okay, and you allow yourself to be balanced in such a way. You are what? You allow yourself to be irrational in a rational way.
Yes, exactly. And I mean, it's because sometimes I follow my intuition, and intuition might be called being unrational. Sometimes I follow my intuition when it comes to new businesses, potential businesses, even though, again, I mean, we are trying not to reinvent the wheel, and we take inspiration from existing business model, but somehow in the way we try to crack the things, and you know, I can follow my intuition, and with people as well, trying to follow intuition. You know, it's not always mathematical, you know, and intuition in business also, I believe it has its own role to play. So far, so good. My intuition didn't go against the performance of our businesses, but you know, yeah, intuition still plays a role, right? I think, at least in my case.
Plus, you're not over investing in capital heavy kind of startups and are able to quickly kill somebody who is not performing to be alive longer and to be successful. Greg, last but not least, round 5, Formula F3, we call this, funding for the future. And before future, in a sentence or two, recap your funding history by now.
Yeah, so 2 months after launch, we raised 800,000 euros, which never happened for a Romanian startup to raise so much money so quick, right? And we actually signed, the truth is we signed the term sheet before we even launched, right? So based on a PowerPoint presentation and an app that was already functioning, but without any traction, we could convince investors to put 800,000 euros on the table. This is because investors, they really look at the team before all the rest. I said, like, okay, Greg already had 4 exits. Maybe it's bonapp.eco is going to be his 50th exit, and if we are his investors, we will do the exit together with him. Plus, I gathered a team which is absolutely incredible. So very, very strong guys. So that went very fast. The objective is to, in 10 months from now to do a Series A, so that we can expand, and then we enter in this logic of doing some new rounds so that we can scale. The good thing in our business is that the technology is not really cash intensive. It's a mobile application. All the cash that we burn is sales and marketing, mostly sales, by the way, because we don't intend to burn lots of marketing money, because PR is doing the job, and also word of mouth is doing the job. So it's all about the salespeople we have in the field and the city manager. Every time we launch a new city, so Cluj, Timișoara, Iași, Sofia, we'll do it in other countries in the region. Strong city manager who is going to be our person on the field, and an army of sales guys to sign as many deals with retailers and restaurant owners.
So sales force is your biggest, or let's say best expansion agent. Okay, now
Absolutely.
let's advertise a little bit. For a new city, what would you be able to offer a new city, city manager in terms of remuneration? Let's say in Eastern Europe, let's say this is another Romanian city, or Budapest. You're not in Budapest yet, right? So let's say Budapest.
Not yet.
So for a city manager in Budapest, what are you ready to offer in terms of either commissions or basic salary?
So Alex, you are going to be surprised. We decided not to have salary grids for this position and for some others in our company, because if I find someone exceptional who have huge background and 30 years of experience, it's not going to be the same salary. Or if it's a junior with no experience, but a big potential. So that's why we don't want to be prisoners. And this is unfortunately a trick in which lots of startups feel like, okay, we need to do like corporations, we need to have salary grid. No, you need to be opportunistic. We are looking for high flyers, and you never know if the high flyer is going to be a junior or a senior. And if it's a junior or a senior, it will not be the same budget. So unfortunately, it will depend. I cannot answer to this question.
So your motto is high flyers, not flies.
Yeah, high flyers. Yes, high flyers.
Not flies. Yeah. Greg, thank you very much.
Not flies. Not flies, even though one of my business partners in TELUS International Europe, which is my biggest company to date, and we left I'm still involved with the company and himself as well, but he launched a company in Bulgaria named Nasecomo, and he raises millions and millions of black flies to transform it into powder. And that's about flies, and we make proteins out of flies. So that's why whenever I hear the word flies, I think of Nasecomo, this amazing startup company. And by the way, I would be happy to recommend this guy, Xavier, to you so that he's invited in your podcast, because he has a very interesting story to say.
This is the benefit of having a serial entrepreneur on your podcast. As soon as you finish one podcast with them, they are happy to introduce it or to make bridges to next project from their universe. Greg, thank you very much. That was really a pleasure. I'm sure we could go on forever. And I think there are some pearls to take away from these conversations as well. Our plan is basically to open an account on TikTok so that we have a small, clips with like really valuable stuff. I hope this will take off as well. Greg, all the best. Thank you very much. It was a pleasure. Good luck. Au revoir.